Hey, welcome back and hope you guys are having a great day. In today's tutorial, we are going to learn the basics of Excel and I will also share some great tips and tricks. At the end of this tutorial, you will be more confident and in a better position to operate Excel. This will really help you to work efficiently at your workplace. Let's start without wasting much time. I will be working on Microsoft Excel 2010, and if you are using a different version of Excel, there is nothing to worry about. There will be small differences only, but most parts will be the same. I would urge you all to start using keyboard more instead of mouse, especially when you use Excel. Learn the shortcuts on keyboard, and it doesn't matter which Excel version you are using. The shortcuts will still work. That's the way they have designed Excel. Okay, first of all, you need to have Microsoft Office installed on your computer. Now open a blank workbook since we will learn the basics first. Let's understand what are the different things here and how the overall layout is. On the top menu here, we have tabs. For example, this is a home tab, then we have an insert tab, a page layout tab, formula tab, and so on. And each tab has its ribbon. This is called as a ribbon. So an insert tab will have its own ribbon. A home tab will have its own ribbon. Further, each ribbon is divided into groups. For example, this group is called as a font group. This group is called as an alignment group. This group is called as a number group. And each group has a launch button here, like the small arrow. So when you click on this launch button, you get more options basically. Okay, so now let's understand what are the components in a Excel file. A single sheet is called as a single sheet and the whole Excel file is called as a workbook. You can add as many sheets as you want just by clicking here, or you can just delete them. I use shortcut Alt E L to delete them. Alt E L, and the sheet gets deleted if I want to delete. So that's the reason why I was telling you guys that you need to start using these Excel shortcuts and especially using these keyboards. It will make you much faster. See how quickly I will delete these two sheets from down. You see, within a fraction of seconds, these two sheets are deleted. That's by using the shortcuts. Alt E L. Okay, now let's see what are the different components in an Excel spreadsheet. So these are the different columns A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on. And these are the different rows. And not to worry, you will never run out of these rows and columns. And these boxes that where I'm clicking, these are called as the cells. And each cell is identified or defined by a cell number. The way it defines is the column number and the row number. So since it is column C and row 4, the cell is called as C4. If I come here, since it's column E and row is 6, this cell will be called as E6. So every cell is defined with a cell name. Or you can type here if you want to go jump to some other cell, for example K11. And if you click enter, it will directly take you to K11. So every cell is defined by a cell name. And this is called as a range. When more than one cell is selected, it's called as a range. So it starts from, for example, it starts from C4 and it ends at E8. Same thing I can do here as well. If I write from C4, say for example I do E10 and I click enter, it will select the range from C4 to E10. We'll look at how to use ranges when we learn the formulas. Alright, so let's start entering data into the cells. So I will start from, there are different ways of entering data. You can just click on the cell and start typing, or you can just click on the cell and go in this formula bar and start typing. So this employee name, if you can see, you feel that employee is in column A and name is in column B as if it's spilling over. But in actual, it is not. If you click on employee name, you can see the full employee name here. If you click on column B, there is nothing here. So that means in actual, it's not coming, but only for us, visibly it shows as it is spilling over. So let me add some more data, employee ID, employee department. So you can see the full text is not sitting in this cell. So what I can do is I can come in between these two columns, and when you get this arrow, one left and right arrow, you just drag it. Now the second option is you can double click here. If you have more than one columns to be done, resized, you can select all the columns and then double click. So all columns will get resized. Now I have saved some data here, so it will be easy for us to work. Okay, there are a few things that I would like to explain. Okay, to come in the next cell down, you click enter, enter, enter. If you want to go back up, you press shift and enter, shift and enter, shift, enter. If you want to go on your right, you press tab, tab, tab. If you want to come back, you press shift, tab, tab, tab. I mean shift, tab, shift, tab. Yeah. If you keep pressing shift and then tab, 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 it will come to your left. If you just press tab, 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 it will go to your right. So this is a employee data basically. Now you can, to select the whole table, you have to keep your one of these cells highlighted and press Ctrl A. You can also select it using the mouse, but like I said, it's better if we start using the keyboard and the shortcuts on the keyboard. So anywhere in this table you come and just press Ctrl A, it will automatically select the full table. If you want to make the heading bold, you can select the heading and click bold, or you can use the shortcut Ctrl B. Ctrl B will remove the bold as well, and it will make it bold as well. Same way, if you want to remove this bold, you can just click here again. Same goes for italic, underline. You can click on these, or you can press Ctrl I for italic or Ctrl U for underline, Ctrl B for bold. These are the shortcuts. If you want, say for example, it's a number here, like 10,000. And I want to add a comma separator, so I can click here and add, or I can press this launch button here to format the numbers. Basically these are all in the same launch button. Like this one is numbers, here is alignment, here is font, border, fill, protection. So it doesn't matter, you click this one and come on numbers. I can click on numbers, I can click on number, I can say use comma separator, and then if I don't want decimals, I'll just remove the decimals and say okay. See, the other way is I can just click here, and this is a comma separator, and this is where you can remove the decimals, decrease the decimals. This is to increase the decimals, and this one is to decrease the decimals. So that is converted into a number format. So this way you can format it. If you want to bring everything in the center of this column, you have this alignment here, center alignment. Okay, say for example, I need to rename or correct this name from Tom to say Bomb. So if I have selected this cell, and if I start typing in this cell, I cannot change the first letter. So for that, what I have to do is I have to double click in this cell, and then I have to type B. Otherwise, it will replace the whole word. So there is a difference between being on the cell and being inside the cell. So there are three ways of doing it. The one way is you select the cell and you can come in the formula bar and just replace this. The other way is you press F2. So once you press F2, you're again inside the cell, and then you change it. The third way is you just type everything all over again. Yeah. So that's the difference between being in the cell and on the cell. I hope this is clear. Now let's see the different type of formattings. We can select the whole table using the shortcut Control A, and then we can change the font as we want. We can change the size. We can make it 14, 16, 18, 20, whatever you need. You see these two shortcuts, these are also to change the size. You click here, it will become smaller. You click here, it will become bigger. Then if you click bold, it will become bold. Click it again, it will go. The shortcut for bold is Control B. Shortcut for italic is Control I. Shortcut for underline is Control U. And you do the same thing again if you want to remove it as well. Then you can, if you want to give a different color, you can give a different color. So there are two things. This is the shade behind the background color, and this is the font color, employee ID. So first I will change the background color, say I will make it blue, and then if I want I can make the font white. If I want the same format to come, because now I have to do it for each of these. So either I can select everything and do it together, or I can click on this and click on Format Painter, and then just select everything. If you want to use the Format Painter on if you want to use the Format Painter for more than one time, what you do is, instead of a single, because if you click it once, it's gone after that. Now, after that, it's not there. So what you do is you double click it, and then you can use it as many times as you want it. And then once you're done, just press escape. Yeah. So we have formatted the heading now. If you want, we can have a center align here of the numbers. I'll just bring it to center. If there is some word, which is much longer, for example, you can use an option called as wrap text. So what wrap text does is it brings it in the next line, but within the same cell. It doesn't change the cell. So you have one option, that is you can either wrap the text or you can make the resize the column. So if you wrap the text, now you see these things, they are not center aligned. So if you want to bring it in the center, you have this center align, middle align, basically. If you want everything to come in the center, this is a center align, this is the middle align. Now I'll teach you shortcuts on how to add columns and rows. So you click on a column. If I want to add a column on top of this, I click on it and I press Control Shift plus sign. Control Shift plus sign. This is a shortcut. Now if you want, you can just right click and say insert, and it will insert, but then you have to use the mouse for it. For me, it's just fraction of seconds. I can add n number of rows. Similarly, to delete these rows, I just have to press Control minus, Control minus. And all the rows get deleted. If I want to add a column, I will just select this column and I will do Control plus, Control Shift plus, Control Shift plus. If I want to delete, Control minus. See, even I don't select the whole row or column using a mouse. You can select it using a mouse like this, but what I prefer is I use keyboard. So if I press Shift spacebar, I select the whole row. Shift spacebar, and if I press Control Shift spacebar, it selects the whole column. So I want to add a row here. I'll just do it in fraction of seconds. Again, I'll show you. I'm here. I want to go and add a row above the row number 1. So I press Control Home. I go on the top. I press Shift Space and I press Control Shift plus sign. Of course, you need to practice, to remember these shortcuts. Now let's add a name to this table. Employee data table. What I can do is I can select all these cells and I can click merge and center. You see what happens when I click merge and center? It becomes one cell and it gets merged. So when you merge number of cells, the address of the cell is the top right. The address of the cell remains the address of the top right cell. For example, I take these. This is K4 and I select this. And if I merge it, the address of this full merged cell will also be K4. It will be the top left cell address. Yeah. If I want to uh, add borders, I will select all by pressing Control A. I will go here and I can say all borders. All borders means all borders will come. If you want only borders, if you want to draw borders yourself, for example, I want borders, say here below this line. So I can select this and then you can see these. This is the bottom border, top border, left border, right border. So if I click bottom border, you'll get only one line here. So there are different things that you can play around with. If you want a thick border on the outside, you can do that. If you need a thin border first, all border, and then a thick border, you can do that. You can have double lines in border. You can choose different colors if you want. Now I've chosen red color. I can make a red color border. So these are the different options that you have that you can play around with. Okay, we have an undo button here. If we have done something wrong and we want to undo it, there's an undo button here. And if you want to redo it, there's a redo button here as well. So you see the red color has come back again. Again, the shortcuts are Control Z for undo and Control Y for redo. Control Z, Control Y. These are the shortcuts. Now let's learn how to filter. So you select the table you want to filter, go to data, filter. Trust me, I never use this function. What I do is I just press Alt D F F, Alt D F F, Alt D F F. And this is not a shortcut from this Excel version of 2010. It's a shortcut from a very old version of Excel, but it still works here. Alt D F F. So for me, I just press Alt D F F whenever I want to apply a filter. It hardly takes a second, fraction of second basically. So this is how you can filter. So to apply filter, you can use your mouse and then select what filters you want. For example, I'm selecting operations. I can see all the operation guys. Clear the filter, you can click here to clear the filter. I can use the Alt and down arrow on the keyboard and then deselect using spacebar and select using spacebar again and pressing enter. So this will also give me the filter that I need. I can remove the filter by pressing Alt D F S. Now let me tell you some shortcuts that you can learn yourself as well. Now for example, I have applied a filter. I want to clear it. So I can either clear it by clicking it here, or if I want to click this without using the mouse, the shortcut is, like I told you, it's Alt DFS. That is one shortcut. But if you don't remember the shortcut, and if you want to learn the shortcut of this version of Excel, what you do is you press Alt. As soon as you press Alt, like I will press Alt now, you will see these alphabets have come up: A, R, W, M, B. Again, I press Alt, it will go. Again, I press Alt, it will come. So that means these are the shortcuts. So when I press Alt, and then if I need data, I press A. If I need formulas, I press N. So now since I need to clear the filter here, so I will start with data. So I'll press A. As soon as I press A, it shows me the next filter. So that is C for clear, C. So you see, the filter is gone. So again, the shortcut that I knew was from an older version of Excel. That still works on this version of Excel. But if you need to know this, the shortcut for this version of Excel, press Alt, press A, and then press C. That also works. Yeah. So now, for example, if I want to see the salary of people, of course, filter you can use for a specific, for selecting a specific department, or if you want to see a specific salary of 4,000, you can see, you can use filter. But if I want to know how many people are there, say for example, who are having salary more than 4,000, say above 4,000. So what I do is there is another option here which says number filter, and then you can say greater than. So either you can select greater than there, or you can select it from here. There are different options here. So I'll click greater than 4,000. So it will not show me 4,000, but it will show me everything greater than 4,000. If I click OK, it will show me everything greater than 4,000. Say for example, I need to know greater than 7,000 but less than 5,000 as well. So again, I will apply number filter and I will select is greater than, is greater than, or you can select greater than equal to, in which case it will show 7,000 as well. And means this and this, both these criteria has to match, but for us it should be or, because it will be either greater than 7,000 or less than 5,000. So in less than 5,000, 5,000 will not come because I'm not selecting less than or equal to. And if I click OK, it will show me everything greater than 7,000 and equal to 7,000 also we are selected, and then less than 5,000. Okay. So you can use these filters in different ways as you want. You can use filters by colors as well. Now since there are no colors, the color option is not getting highlighted. So say for example, if I add colors here, I give it a red color, I give it a yellow color. So then the filter by color option is also there. And then either I can filter by red color, I can filter by yellow color, or I can no fill. No fill means where there is no color. So I can use these options as well. Then we have this other option wherein you can filter on text. So when it is a text, Excel automatically knows it's a text. When it's a number, Excel automatically knows it's a number. So when you come here, you will not have text filter, you'll have number filter. But when you come here, you will have text filter instead of the number filter. So you can, for example, I want to see the employees whose name start with, say, for example, J. So what I do is I come text filter, I say contains. No, contains is not the right word. I will say begins with J. And if I click OK, it will show me all the names that begin with J. Sorry. And then if I again apply filter, say begins with J or begins with D. So it will give me all the names that begins with J and D both. Yeah. Okay, so to sort data, you should always select the complete table. You should never select only one column and sort the data. That will not be correct. I mean, if you see the data in a single row is related to each other. I mean, for Jack's designation is manager. It cannot be assistant executive or team leader. It is manager. His salary is 10,000. So all this data in a single row is related to each other. I will just show you an example of what happens if without selecting the whole table, if you only change the single column, or if you only sort the single column, what happens? First of all, when you to sort the data, say for example, I need the lowest salary on top. So what I will do is I will select the data, I will go to data, and I will click on sort. So as soon as I click sort, it gives me an error. It's not an error, it gives me a warning basically that Microsoft Excel found data next to your selection. Since you have not selected this data, it will not be sorted. So by default, the option is expand the selection. When you click expand the selection and click sort, both the columns will get included. But if you want to continue with the same selection, let's continue and see what happens. Okay. So I will continue and I'll sort by salary smallest to largest. Since there is only one column, it's showing the salary smallest to largest. Now, if I click OK, you see what happened. Jack's salary is showing us 4,000. Whereas this is not correct. This is not what we want. We need to know the employee whose salary is 4,000 and it is not Jack. So I will do a control Z, that is an undo. I will select both the tables and then I will do sort. So again, if I want the shortcut of sort, I will click Alt, I will click A, and then I will click SS for sort. So since the whole data is selected now, I can sort it easily. I will click. Now there are two options, employee name or salary. I want to sort by salary, so I click salary and then I click largest to smallest or smallest to largest and I click OK. So then now the names have also sorted with the data. So never sort only one column, always select the whole table when you want to sort. So I use a shortcut if I want to delete some data, I use a shortcut Alt E A A. So it deletes the data along with the formatting as well. So I will select this data and let's sort this data. Say if I want to sort it with the highest salary to the lowest, I will click on sort, I will click salary, I want largest to be on top. Okay. So see, after Jack it's Julius, whose employee ID was 7. So he came on top because I sorted this data. say for example, I want to sort data based on the departments. So again, I will select the whole table. I will, for me, the shortcut that I'm using is Control D, Alt DS. That was the shortcut in the earlier version of Excel. So I use Alt DS. Alt DS, if I want to sort by department, I'll click on department. You want A to Z or Z to A, you can select A to Z and I'll click OK. So all the accounts came first. Okay, why do we have a value here? Okay, there was a formula and that's the reason why there was a value. So I do it with department, A to Z, and accounts is on top, then customer service management, operations, and so on. Now, for example, if I want to sort department wise and then salary wise. So say for example I want all persons from each department. First I will sort and then salary wise. So how can I do that? Same, I will click Alt DS for sort and then I will say department A to Z, or say for example this time we'll do it Z to A, and then we'll add a level. Okay, you add level. So first you want the first it will sort by department, and second it will sort by salary, smallest to largest, or largest to smallest, whichever you want. I click OK. So now you'll see all the sales guys, and within the sales guys you'll see salary smallest to largest, sorted in the smallest to largest format. So sorting is a very good option, but you should always remember to select the complete table when you're sorting. Okay, say for example I want to insert a comment so that in future I will remember. So maybe I can insert a comment here. So I will right click on his name and I will say insert comment, and maybe I can write salary increment on say 15 March 2021. So when I hover my mouse on this cell, it will show me the comments. So this is how we can add comments. If you want to delete comment, just right click, say delete comment, and it will disappear. So now let's learn some basic formulas. So yeah, all formulas start with an equal to sign. That's the thumb rule. So you do equals to, say for example you want to see how much is 2 multiplied by 3. Press enter and it gives you the value. So though it is looking as a 6 here, but inside this cell it is 2 multiplied by 3. So it is always better that whenever you are writing some numbers based on some calculations, you put the calculations there instead of the direct number. So for example, if I want to calculate this guy's overtime hours, so I know it is 100 per hour into 4 hours. So instead of writing 400 directly, I can always write equal to 100 into 4, because later when I come back I can check that okay, what is the formula behind it? It's 100 into 4. That is how it arrives at 400. So that's one thing. So there are different operators, like this is multiply, this is divide, this is divide, this is plus, minus, the different operators that you can use. So say for example I'm entering some number here, 310. If I want to multiply this, I will do equals to this cell multiplied by this cell. Automatically, you just have to use your arrow key and select it. It will automatically select. So this is J3 into J4. So okay guys, let's try another example. Equals to plus 2 multiplied by 2. What do you think the answer would be? 2 plus 2, 4, multiplied by 2, 8. No, it's wrong. It will be 2 multiplied by 2 first, and then it will add 2. So in this case, the multiplication will happen first and then the addition. Because Excel follows the BODMAS rule, BODMAS, BODMAS rule. So if you have all the operators, it will first use the division and the multiplication, and then the addition and the subtraction. So in BODMAS, it is brackets first. So if you are using brackets, then it will solve what is there in the bracket first. So you see now without brackets, this is the answer. If I use the same thing in brackets, and if I do the addition first, then the answer is different. So always remember, when you're using these operators plus, minus, multiplication, division together, you have to use brackets to make sure your formulas, the result of the formulas are correct. Okay, so these are the hourly salaries, and these few guys have done overtime. So if I want to calculate the overtime for all of these, I will do a multiplication equals to this multiplied by this. Overtime. Right, double click to resize the cell, bring it in center, and now I can copy paste it one by one, or I can copy and select everything and paste everything, or I can select the cell and double click here. There are n number of ways to do it, or I can just select everything starting from this cell. I will select everything and press Ctrl D. Ctrl D is a shortcut used for copying the data that is in the upper cell. So there are n number of ways that you can use this formula. Now, for example, you have already applied a formula here. So what happens is, tomorrow if I change this number, and tomorrow, say for example, the overtime of in this case, the overtime instead of 0 hours, it was 2 hours. So automatically it will calculate 200 years. If you don't want the formulas, you can copy the formulas and right click, and you can say paste special and click on values. So what happens is, when you click values, the formulas will go. Like for example, here in the formula bar, you can see H3 multiplied by G3. As soon as you put values, this formula will go and the values will be there. Like now it is showing the value of this cell. The formulas are gone. But again, it depends. If you need formulas, you need to keep formulas. If you don't need formulas, you can remove it. But in this case, now if I change this overtime, instead of 2 hours, I'll make it 4 hours. So the overtime salary will not get calculated correctly. So you need to understand where you need to keep formulas and where you need to remove the formulas and keep values. Okay, fine. So let's move on now. So, like I told you, if I have a number, if I want to copy paste it here, I can just select both these cells and I can do a Control D. If I want to paste it on the right side, I can do a Control R. That's the shortcut. Yeah, Control R, Control R. Cool. Now let's learn some more formulas. Say for example, if I want to convert the name in the uppercase. Yeah. So what I will do is, I will click equal to, I will write upper. So as soon as you write upper, it says it converts a text string to all uppercase letters. And then you open the bracket, and then it will ask you, give me what is the text. And then you say, for example, the first name, so it becomes uppercase. Similarly, you can use lowercase. So lowercase, I will select this, so it will change it to lowercase. Similarly, you can use proper. Proper means the first character of each letter will be in capital, like this. Yeah, simple. Now let's use another formula of sum equals to SUM. So that is sum. Open the bracket. You can select this number. You can do a comma, select this, comma, select this, comma, select this, and so on. That is one way of doing it. The other way is, you do just equal to this number plus this number plus this number, and so on. The easiest way is, you do sum, open bracket, and select everything. The shortcut is Alt equals to. As soon as you press Alt equals to, it will automatically do a sum, and it will also select the data above it. Yeah. If you want to copy this formula, you do Control R, or if you want to do it yourself, Alt equals to. Say for example, there is a lot of data, and when I scroll down, I can't see the heading, or when I scroll to my right, I can see the employee ID. So we can always freeze the pane. So say for example, I always want to see the heading, irrespective of which cell I go down. Freeze the pane number, the row number 2. I will select the row number 3, and then I will go to view and I will click freeze pane. So it will freeze the pane. And then you go down, you will see the heading is still there. Similarly, if I want to freeze the employee ID row, what I can do is I will select the column B because I want column A to be freezed, and I will click on freeze pane. So if I go to my right, the employee ID will still be there. Cool. If I want to freeze the row and the column, so I want the employee heading of the employee data table and the employee ID as well. Both these things to be freezed at the same time. So I have to come to this cell. So everything on the left of the cell and on the top of the cell will be freezed. So I'll click on freeze, I'll click on freeze panes. So I go down, I can see the heading. I go on right side, I can still see the employee ID. The shortcut to freeze or unfreeze pane that I use is Alt WFF. So you see the panes are unfreezed now. Again I do Alt WFF and the panes are freezed now. Cool. There's another formula which gives the length of the characters. For example, I need to know how many characters are in this word Louis. I will just type equal to LEN, stands for length. It returns the number of characters in a string. So I open the bracket, I select, I close the bracket, and there you go, it says 5. You can just drag if you want the length of all the names. Now I want to know, this is the total salary, I want to know who has the maximum salary. So I can use the formula equals to max, open bracket, and select the data, close the bracket. So the max salary is 10,000. I want to see what is the minimum salary. So I will do equals to minimum equals to min, and then I will select the data. It will show what is the minimum salary. If I want to know what is the average, I will do equals to AVG. Equals to average basically, and then I will select the data. That will give me the average salary for all the employees. Now let's say for example I have a number here 3.14678, and if I want to round this number up, so I will use equals to round, and I will select the number. If I want to round it to say one digit after decimal, I will type 1, so it will give me 3.1. If I want 2, it will give me 3.15. If I give it 0, it will just round it to the nearest, to the lowest number. So the concept of round is if it's below 0.5, it will round it to the lower number. If it's above 0.5, it will round it to the upper number. So say for example, this number is 3.50, it will round it to 4. And if it is 3.49999, it will round it to 3. That's how the round works. Now, there is another formula if you want to round it up always. So you do round up, and it will always round up irrespective if it is below 3.5 also. Okay, I forgot to give the number of digits after decimal. So it will always round up. If you give round down, it will do equals to round down, it will always round down. See the difference? Yeah, I think now you guys can see the difference. Cool. So uh, this is the date. If you want to format the date, you can go to home, click on this launch button, or you can click Control 1. Control 1 is the shortcut to launch this button. And then you can give the format of date as you want. If you need only the 2 digits of year, just give YY. If you need 3 digits, you can give YYY. If you need month in Feb, you can just give 3 digits MM. If you want it in 2 digits, you can do it MM. So let's say 02. So you can play around with this. Yeah. So DD, if you want slash. So as you are typing the format, it's showing it in the sample as well. So MM, if you type 3 M's, it will be Feb. YY, it will show 20. Put one more Y, it will show 2020. You want the day as well, so you just type DDD, it will give you the day. If you want the day in 3 digits, if you want more than 3 characters, you can type 4 Ds, so it will give you the day as well. Now let's learn some complicated formulas. It's not very complicated. If you understand the concept, it's very simple. So, say for example, you already know the sum formula. It will give you the total salary basically. But say for example, if I want the salary of operations staff, so what I do is I do equals to sum, and you add a if. So if means you're giving a condition. Sum if. So it is asking you 3 things. You don't have to by heart the formula, but you look at what it is asking for, and then accordingly you give the inputs. So I never by heart the formulas. I try to understand what it is saying, what it is asking for, and accordingly I will give the same inputs. So it is asking for 3 things. One is the range, one is the criteria, and then it is the sum range. So sum range means what it has to sum in the end. So the sum range will always be the salary because we want the salary to be summed up. So then we are left with 2 options. One is range and criteria. So criteria is what criteria you want to give. So I want the salary for the operations guy. So this criteria, where do I need to check? I need to check in this range of department. Yeah. So now try to understand that this range is for the criteria, not the sum range. This is the sum range, the final output that you want. But the final output you want for only operations from this range. So range, I will select this. Then I will put a comma. As soon as I put a comma, it's now asking me for the criteria. So criteria, I can, since it's a text, I will type it in quotes, operations. And then again I will give a comma, and then it is asking me what is the sum range, what is that I have to sum after I check this criteria in this range. So you have to sum all these salaries wherever the criteria is matching. So when I close the bracket and enter, it will only give me 15,000. You can always double check your data, and operations, the total is 15,000. You can see here the total is coming as 15,000. So that means my formula is working correctly. Yeah? So if I need, say for example, if I need to apply 2 conditions, okay. Now see the difference here, okay. Sum if it is sum if, it's first asking for the range to check the criteria, and then it is asking for the sum range. But if it is sum ifs means there is an S, which means there are more than one criteria. So first it is asking for sum range in this case. You see, first it is asking the sum range. First you will select the sum range. Then you will start giving criteria. You can give as many criteria as you want here. Now first it is asking for criteria range 1. So range means, okay, this is the range, And what is the criteria? The criteria is, for example, operations. I can also select operations here instead of writing it down in quotes, and then I give a comma again. Then it is asking me for the second criteria range. So say for example I select designation. And from designation, what is the criteria? I need only ops executive salaries. Then it is asking for me for the third, fourth, fifth, and so on. But for me, two criteria is more than enough. So I'll just close the bracket and I will do an enter. So operations executive we have two, and the salary is 4,000 each, so it's 8,000. Again, it's just working. Now, let me teach you another formula, that is count. Count will return the number of cells in a range that contains numbers only. Yeah, it will not count text. It will only count numbers. So if I select this, it will give me 11 because these are numbers. If the same formula I apply here, it will give me 0 because there are no numbers here. So for numbers, it is count A. Count A counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. If you want to count text, it is count A. So there it goes, it gives me 11. In count also we can use COUNTIF. COUNTIF. So COUNTIF is again with the condition. So COUNTIF, S. All are these with the same conditions that we saw earlier for SUMIF. So it is asking for range and criteria. So my range is this, comma. Say for example I need to know how many people are there in account. So I will type accounts. Close the brackets. It will give me there are 2 people in accounts. Yeah, I can also, instead of typing in quotes, I can also select. For example, I need to know how many people are there in sales. So it will tell me how many people are there in sales. These formulas come very handy, especially when you have a large number of data. Okay, cool. Now let's learn the left and the right formulas. So say for example, if I need specific characters from a word, say for example I need 2 characters. So I will use the formula left. So left, as soon as you type left, it tells you, it returns the specified number of characters from the start of a string. So left means from the left side. So let me select this string, comma, how many characters I need? I need 2. So it will give me 2 characters from the left. Same if I do equals to right, and if I select this lowest, comma 2, it will give me the last 2 characters. Yeah. Now let's say we want to combine the first name and the department. So what we'll do is we can use a formula called as concatenate. Concatenate. It joins several text strings into one string. Okay. I open the bracket, I select lowest, comma, second is sales, close the bracket and enter. So it gives me lowest sales. Now if you notice there is no space in between. If I need space, I can use the quotes, and in between I can give one space and one more comma, so it becomes 3 text now. 1, 2, and 3. So it will show lowest sales. You can add more text as well. For example, I'll add lowest sales executive. So that's how concatenate works. And there's another formula. Instead of concatenate, you can just say equals to this, and there's this AND formula which works exactly the way the concatenate formula works. So lowest sales. If I want space, I give space in quotes, and then I put another AND lowest sales. If I need more, space, another AND, then sales. Yeah. Now let's see the if formula. Okay, so if formula is a very useful formula again. So if checks whether a condition is met. If the condition is met, it returns one value, and if the condition is not met, it returns another value. So if the condition is true, it will return one value. If the condition is not true, it will return another value. So let's say, for example, if department equals to sales. Okay, so now this is the logical test. Okay, you can see what it is asking for. It is asking for the logical test. And the logical operators are equals to, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, and not equal to. I will show you the operators. So if C3 equals to sales, okay, this is the logical test. And then I put a comma, and then what if the value is true? Okay, if this logical test is true, then what do I do? Then, for example, sales commission applicable. Okay, and then I put a comma, and then if the value is false, it is asking if the value is false. If the value is false, then you can write no commission. And then I close the bracket. So since this guy is in sales, it says sales commission applicable. If I copy the formula down, for the other guys it says no commission. You can use the if formulas in different ways, like we calculated overtime salary here. So you can use a if formula here again, if overtime hours. Okay, let me explain to you the operators. Equal to is one operator. This is the equal to operator. This is the greater than. This is the less than. This is the greater than equal to. This is not equal to. Yeah. So equals to if the overtime hours equal to 0, then if it's 0, okay, then no commission. And then if it's not equal to 0, then what should it do? It should simply multiply this multiplied by the H3. The H3 is this one. Okay? Now we'll just close the bracket. So if it's 0, it will say no commission. But if it's not 0, then it will calculate the commission. It will multiply 100 by 2, and so on. So that's how the if formula works. Okay, guys. So let's learn the VLOOKUP formula. But before learning the VLOOKUP formula, I want to clear some concepts that will help to understand the VLOOKUP formula even better. So let's put a formula equals to, name, that is equals to B3. So when I copy the formula and bring it down, it changes the name because it has changed the cell position as well. So before it was B3, now it is B4. Why is it? Because I've moved the formula down. So as I move the formula, it will keep moving the cell number. It will keep incrementing the cell number. So it was B3, 4. You can see it here in this formula bar. It's B4, B5, B6, B7, B8, and so on. So this is dynamic. As you keep changing the formulas, as you drag down the formulas, the cell number keeps changing. Now, if I don't want the cell number to change, what I will do is, when I select this name, I will press an F4. So what happens with an F4 is, it brings in a $ in front of the B, in front of the column B, and in front of the row 3. That means it has now fixed the column B and the row 3. So it will be static now. Irrespective of where you drag the formula, it will be static. Even if you move the formula to your right, it will still be static. It will still show B3, like you can see here. So you understand the difference of adding a $ in front of B entry and not adding a $ in front of B entry. Yeah. So if you add a $, it will be a static cell. If you don't add a $, it will be a dynamic cell. It will keep on moving. And same goes with the table. If there is a table, you add $sign, that will be static table. If you don't add, it will be dynamic table. So there are a few things you need to understand before doing a VLOOKUP formula. So a VLOOKUP formula always looks up for a value that is in the extreme left column of the table. So I want to look up for this value of employee name. For example, this employee called as Bomb. But my extreme left column is employee ID. So it will not give me the correct values when I apply the formula. So what I will do is when I apply the VLOOKUP formula, I will not select this employee ID column. I will select the employee name column as the first column. So this will be the leftmost column in our formula. And then I can select the table either till salary if I want the salary, or till hourly hours, or till wherever. I'll select the complete table, and then I will ask output to give me salary. So I will explain to you how it works. So you put the formula equal to VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP means vertical lookup, lookup of employee name, comma, starting from where? Starting from column B. Why column B? Because this will be the leftmost column, and VLOOKUP will always check for that value in the leftmost column. So this has to be the first column, and then I can select till salary the table, or I can drag it till the end. That doesn't matter. Comma. Then it asks for column index number. Column index number is which column do you want as your output, as your result. So give me the column index number. So your table starts from here. So this is the first column, second, third, fourth, fifth. The salary is in the fifth column. So I will write 5, and I will always write false. So you see it has given me the salary for Bomb. So I will just copy paste the formula down. Oh, there's something wrong here. So I will press F2 to see what has happened. And then I realize that my table is moving down as I am dragging the formula down. So this is the same case what I explained to you. The table is not static. The table is dynamic. So the table is moving. So as the table moves, it's searching for Julius, but Julius is up here. It's not within this table. So that is why it's giving an error. So what we do is when we apply the formula, we select this, we go back and select this and press F4. Then it will work. Or when you apply the formula at the same time, you can do F4. We look up of employee name, comma, table list from here to here. As soon as you select the table, just press F4. Automatically the dollar signs will come. If it doesn't come, you have to manually input it. And I need column number 5, which is column number 5 from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, comma, false. And there it works. So this is how a VLOOKUP formula works. If you are on a different sheet, for example, I'm in a different sheet or different Excel file, use the same formula, VLOOKUP of Bomb, comma. Where is the table array? The table is in this sheet. So I click on this sheet and I click from here to here. Okay, after clicking, you have to press F4. The comma, I need column number 5 because that's the salary. You can see here the formula is still going on. Then I put comma, and then I do false. And I get the salary here. That's it. It's very simple VLOOKUP formula. You just have to understand it. And there are some thumb rules that whatever you're looking for always has to be in the leftmost column. And the output that you need, you have to count the columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you need hourly salary here, I'll just make this as 6. So it will give me hourly salary. If I need overtime, I will make it 7. This is working because I have selected the whole table till the end. Yeah. So this is how the VLOOKUP formula works. It's very simple. Just concentrate, try for a couple of times, and then you will be an expert in it. Let's now learn how to make a pivot table. Pivot table is basically used to analyze data. when you have especially when you have a large number of data. So you go to insert and select pivot table. So by default, it will select the full data. If it's not selecting the full data, you can select it manually like this. And then it says where to create your pivot table or report. So I will say new worksheet. So it will create in a new worksheet. If I want, I can select on the existing worksheet also. I can just select any location here, but I will prefer to do it on the new worksheet. Okay, so this is the structure of the pivot table. You have to build the pivot table basically. So I want to see how many people are working in each of these departments. So what I will do is I will bring the department in the row label. So the row label is this one. The column label is this one, and values will come here. So I can bring it in the column label as well. I can bring it in the label as well. Depends on what your requirement is. And then employee name, I will count the employee name. So if you want to change the settings, if it is number here, you can just, okay, let me show you with a number. Say for example, I select salary here. So it's showing me sum of salary, but I want the count of the employees. So what I will do is I will go click on the small arrow here. I will say value field setting and I will click on count. So it will show me the count of the staff. Count of the salary is nothing but the count of the staff. So I know in account there are 2 people, in customer service there are 2 people, management 1, operations 3, and so on. Now I want to also see their designations. So what I will do is maybe I can bring the designations in the column label. I will drag from here and bring it here. So I know in accounts I have 1 junior account executive, 1 senior account executive. Total I have 2 of them. In customer service I have 2 customer service executives. In operations I have 2 executives and 1 team leader. So this is how I can play around with this. I can also bring the designation here below the department. So it shows accounts 2, 1 is junior executive, 1 is senior executive. Customer service 2, both are customer service executives, and so on. I can also take the department in the filter above. So in this column. So what happens is it'll come here. So currently it is showing all. If I want, for example, operations, I will select operations. So it will only show me the operations count. If I need to see operations and customer service, then I select multiple items here, and then I select operations and customer service. So then I get the combined count. So you can play around with the pivot table. It's fun. Basically, you can analyze a lot of things. So let me show you another example. For example, I take the department here and I take the sum of salary. There was filter that I applied, so I'm just removing the filter. So it shows me all the department and it shows me the sum of the salaries. Say for example, I want designation wise, I'll bring the designation. So I know designation wise what salaries I'm paying. There are different analysis that you can do based on this pivot table. Now I will show you how to make charts or graphs. So for example, I have this department wise data and I want to make graph out of it. So what I do is I will select this data, I will go to insert, and then in insert there are different type of charts. So I can use a column chart, and it's that simple. It will automatically make a chart for you. This is called as a legend. If you don't want the legend, you can click on it and click delete. If you want it but to be placed somewhere else, you can right click and say format legend. Then you can move it on top, at the bottom, to the right, to the left, top right, left, wherever you want. So in my case, Since the heading is already sum of salaries, so I don't want those legends. I will just click on it and I will just press delete. So the graph will utilize the maximum space. So I can also rename this staff salaries, and then these are the vertical axis. There's the horizontal axis. If you don't want these grid lines, you can click on them, you can remove them. If you want to color it differently, there are already these by default different charts that you can use. If you want to change the color manually, you can do that as well. Go to format, shape, fill, whatever color you want, you can fill that color. So these are different ways that you can play around with a graph. The other graph that you can make is a line graph like this. And if you want to see the value of each point, you can right click and say add data labels. We give all the numbers here. Same is for the bar chart as well. If I want to make a pie chart, I can do that as well. So it says for accounts, I'll right click and add data labels. So it says how much is the salary for accounts, how much is for customer service, management, operations, and sales. So these are the different charts that you can make. Again, for the charts, you have predefined charts here which you can use, which looks very good. So this is one chart that you can use for the, if you want to change colors of any specific pie, you can do that as well. So these are the different type of charts that you can use. In my next video, I will be showing you how to make basic macros. You don't need to learn coding or anything. You just need to have the basic understanding of Excel, and then you can record macros and you can make changes in it. So if there is a task that you're doing day in, day out, you can convert that into a VBA macro. So stay tuned.